Today we're going to talk about a pen that came to me in a fascinating way. All of a sudden out of nowhere, I received a message from Joost Appelboom who said, "Your birthday present is on the way." I did not know this, I did not expect this, but I picked it up and there was a pen from Leonardo. And the Leonardo pens I've really enjoyed. I have reviewed 3 so far, and they're always popular. I think they're popular because these are handmade pens, they're made in Italy, but they're also relatively affordable. In fountain pen terms, everything is always relative, but given that they are handmade in Italy, I think they typically are pretty good when it comes to price. So the Leonardo Messenger, which is the new pen, the first model launched in 2020, is no exception. 122 euros and 31 cents at appelboom.com. And please remember that there is of course the discount code, 10% discount code on my website. Click the Appelboom banner and you will see. So let's talk about the Messenger. I'm going to show you the parts of the pen. I'll do a writing sample. I'll tell you what I like about it, what I don't like about it. Let's get started. So, what is the Leonardo Messenger all about? Well, it's an interesting pen, as I said, 122 euros, that's without VAT, but then you have, in principle, medium broad steel nibs, but I have seen on the Appelboom website there are also other options. That could be special order, but medium and broad seem to be the standard options. There are 366 of these pens in each color. There are multiple colors. I have the caramel color. The 366 refers to the number of days in 2020, this being a leap year and all. It comes with a converter and it's a pen made of resin. And that's pretty much it. So what do we have? We have the box, and what I really like about the box is that it has a drawing from Leonardo on it and his handwriting. I don't know if you know that, but Leonardo was left-handed and he developed a writing where he actually mirrored each letter so that he could write from right to left, because writing from left to right you may smear out the ink when you use such a liquid ink, right? So all of his letters are mirrored. That makes his manuscript pretty hard to read. So not only did he write from right to left, he flipped each letter, mirrored them, which is kind of cool. Okay, so we have that is the sleeve, the Messenger sleeve, which I thought was quite nice. Then we have a little cardboard box, which does have the nib grade on it. It's quite simple. I like those letters. That's nicely done. Then you have the actual box. It's a nice simple box, has Leonardo on there. There is a little user guide. These are the different colors of Messenger, so you can pick the one that you like. And what else is there to say? Oh, this has Leonardo's eyes on it. Can you see it? One of his famous... I want to say it's called Portrait of an Old Man, but that it's probably a self-portrait. That's from that specific portrait. Then we have the little the pen sleeve, and of course the pen rests comfortably in its bed. Let's have a look at this pen. I am also about to record a shootout between all the 4 Leonardo models currently on the market, so you'll be able to see this model compared to other Leonardo pens. Here you have the pen right next to a Pilot Parallel. You have a bit of an idea for the size. It's I would say a pretty decently sized pen. It's kind of interesting. I guess I may as well do it now. Momento Zero, the Furore, but very interesting. You might not have expected that. The Messenger is the same length as a Momento Zero Grande. It's just that the Grande is a bit girthier, but in length they're the same, including when they're uncapped. Again, I will do a shootout and you will see them all side by side. So this is the caramel finish. I really like it. It's a translucent material. You can see the nib if you have a good look at that here, which I think is quite nice. So there is that. Top of the cap, finial, same material as the rest of the pen. We have the cap, which is fairly long, but as you can see, it's not that there's that much space left. We have this nice simple metal clip, which is very springy and very pleasant to use, I found, and has this little ski slope end which makes it very easy to put into a pen case or something. There is the Leonardo signature, I suppose, on the center band, and on the other end it says Officina Italiana. Here it is the number, and that's why Yo sent me this one. It's kind of cute. I turned 35, so for my 36th life year, he sent me number 36 out of 366, which is incredibly sweet and very attentive. Barrel tapers down. This pen can be posted, but not very deeply, so it becomes very large when you post it. But I think for most people, unposted, it's perfectly usable. Okay, then we have these big threads here. Because they are so big, they're actually not sharp at all. So it's a very pleasant pen to hold. You really don't feel sharp edges. I feel it a little bit when I really rub into this, but if you just touch it, it's not sharp. You really have to kind of dig into it. The section, there's a bit of a step down. Then there is a taper and then a flare out, and then there is a steel Jowo nib. This happens to be a broad. The nib does say Leonardo, Italy. It says B for broad, and it has the Leonardo logo laser engraved. Plastic feed, and then on the inside, of course, there is a cartridge converter. So this is a regular, normal cartridge converter, as opposed to the Grande, which has the captive converter in it. So let's do a bit of writing. I will zoom out a bit for this one. So what do we have? We have the Leonardo Messenger broad nib B.R.E. brown ink, because let's face it, if it is my birthday pen, it needs to have that ink. Plus I thought it was kind of a nice match with the caramel. It's a smooth writer. It's not a glassy smooth experience, but to be honest, I prefer that to an over-polished nib, so it is by no means scratchy. There is some feedback. I like this type of feedback. Of course, to each his own. Let's do some fast writing. Was, I think, a skip there, but I don't think anyone would really write at that speed. What about its wetness? I found this nib to be somewhat on the dryish side. As you can see, it doesn't run dry, nor have I had it run dry. There are pens that have issues with the air exchange, and then as you write, they get dry and dry until they stop writing. This is not one of those pens. I have written a lot with this, and long sessions. It hasn't run dry, so it's just somewhat dry. It's not a gusher. The broad nib is a completely round nib. You see there's no natural line variation. As always, very, very careful. You can push down on it a little bit for some line variation, but this is by no means a flex nib, so be very, very careful when you do that. Anything else? Yes. There is, of course, reverse writing. And it will give you finer writing, but as you can see, it also gets very dry to the point where it doesn't really write well. So that is really only a couple of words. Or you could buy a fine nib. Okay, so that is the parts of the pen. That is how it writes. Let's see what I like, and what I don't like about the Messenger. What do I like, what do I not like about the Messenger? Well, there's a lot of things I like. I find it a very comfortable pen. I find it comfortable mainly unposted. I do use it posted, it's just that it becomes quite long, and that is my first point, that theoretically I would love to see a little differently. I don't know how I can see this. The material is translucent, so you can probably see that the barrel only fits into the cap up to about that point. If this would be a deeper posting pen, I think that would be nice, because the cap would not stick out quite so far. I would appreciate that, but that's not really a big problem, because unposted I can use this pen without any issues, so I have no issues there. The pen writes well. It is a little, I find the nib a little on the dry side, but it does write well. It is by no means unusable. It's just a little on the dry side, but it flows well. I haven't had it run dry. I wrote with this pen a lot. I haven't had any of those issues. It's just that it's not a gusher, right? But not everybody likes it either, so I'm just pointing that out. And that has been a bit of a trend for me in Leonardo nibs. They tend to be a little on the drier side of things. The ones I have used anyway. And I found this, it's relatively affordable. I know that 122 euros, that's not nothing, but it is a handmade pen in Italy. Like it's that simple, right? Well, it is handmade in Italy. It's not injection molded. You are purchasing a basically handmade sort of product, and that will add a bit to the price. But then, of course, you can also say, yeah, but 122 euros, steel nib, cartridge converter. Yeah, I understand that, and all of those are fair points. That's why I said I find it relatively affordable, right? For something made in Italy, you know, it's an Italian product. It's a bit fancy and it's a bit nice and it's a bit exotic, and I love that. I do find the material to be very pretty, very nice. Chatoyans, right? Catches the light very nicely. It's a very warm color, this one, which I really enjoy. The final thing that I would point out, this need not be an issue. I often mention this. These are metal threads, and in the cap it's just the resin. Same thing in the barrel. These are metal threads, and then in the actual barrel it's just resin threads. Is this a big deal? I don't know. Is it? I always have this feeling that the metal may wear out the non-metal threads, but then in years of pen using I've never actually had that happen to me. I don't know if it's really an issue, if I'm just overly concerned, but I thought I would point it out. That's pretty much it. I think it's a lovely pen and I really enjoy using it. I think this is a nice size for a lot of people. So I would very much heartily recommend it. A very kind thank you to Joost for sending me this as a birthday present. That is really incredibly sweet. So I hope this is useful, and I'll gladly see you later.